What up, everybody? A2HH Live on a midday, on a Monday. How are you doing today? Cool.
I'm doing good. I'm blessed to be here.
Yeah, same here, man. It's still, I guess you can still say Happy New Year and stuff. You know what I mean? It's still like we're not even in the double digits of this year yet, but it's already traveling fast.
Yeah. We're still on Happy New Year time a little bit.
Well, with that being said, Jay-Z is dropping a song this week. It's going to be like 9-10 minutes long from what I'm understanding. It's going to be featuring D'Angelo. So get ready for, we're going to be fan balanced about it, right? As we always are about everything. But get ready for many of the usual suspects in the journalism world of hip hop to say that it is record of the year. It is song of the year already in 2024. So those expectations are preordained when it comes to Jay-Z dropping a song. And I think I froze. Rock Nation got me. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. I'm genuinely excited about the record. In honesty, Mike, I think sometimes what gets lost in the banter that we've had about this triumphant Nas and Hit-Boy run is the fact that I'm a big Jay-Z fan. I think Jay is the second greatest MC of all time, which is saying a whole lot coming from somebody as critical as I am. And I'm actually genuinely excited for the record. I'm never excited for a 9-minute rap song, though, just in full honesty with you.
Yeah.
I told you, I'm making this the Digging in the Crates year. So I've been listening to a lot of quote unquote old school 1980s hip hop.
Right.
I've almost exclusively listened to 1980s hip hop this year since the year started. I haven't listened to like anything from the 90s or the 2000s unless it just happens to pop up on the algorithm. And I mean, and this is going to be one of my hot takes. It's like, man, unless you're making, what's the Public Enemy song, Black Steel?
An Hour of Chaos, yep.
An Hour of Chaos? Yeah, unless you're making that song.
Do we even want Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos to be 9 minutes? Because, a 9-minute song, like you said, the 80s, and I'm glad you're doing this dig on the 80s, because personally for me, obviously I know the 90s is better because it's more, has more, from end to end, has more range and density, but it's something about those 80s records. They taught us how to make hip-hop records. You know what I'm saying? Like, the rules that started with the 80s carried on until today. And I'm sure you can't find a 9-minute long, record from the 80s, a hip hop record that's just not like a DJ going off or whatever, or the beat just doing whatever it's doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Black Steel is about as long as it gets at about 6 minutes, but that song is epic, Mike.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it literally takes a song like that, which, I mean, for me is a top 5 Public Enemy song, which is saying a lot.
Yeah.
For you to even want to listen to a record that long, and quite frankly, I've been listening to a lot of records that are 5 and 6 minutes long because I've been on my 80s dig. It was more like an extended play time.
Right.
And we were still carving out who we were in the era. Like, I don't think people understand. It's like 16 bars really didn't become a thing until KRS and Rakim.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because there were guys going for 4 verses as opposed to 3 because you weren't even really looking to get on the radio. Radio, I would imagine, set those parameters for rap where it was like, look, we need a song in this amount of time, this length, this is what you can fit in this length. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, NBC's coverage, interviews, and media buzz for a mid-song just like God did's verse. Excited for the project, but not getting expectations up. I'm interested to hear where Jay's going to go, man. I think that before we get too far into it, I do see at this point in his career, it's more about connecting with more soulful individuals. Connecting with people that he didn't really connect with sonically at the heart of his career, if that makes any sense.
I mean, first of all, he's in his 50s.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
about to
you
be
and I have had the
mid-50s, I
conversation.
believe. Yeah.
I mean, we're in our early 40s. It's like we listen to more R&B than rap. We listen to rap about according to hip hop mostly.
Yeah.
And so him going the more soulful route, I'm not surprised or opposed to. But at the end of the day, like the record got to be good, Mike. And it's like, as much as I love Fam, it's just been a long time since he's made a dope ass record. And so I'm excited because it's him, but I'm not excited at the prospect of a 9-minute biblically inspired song from Jay-Z. Does that sound like the Jay-Z record that you want to hear?
Right. Shout out to Firebird Phoenix in the chat, man. He got some music out there, 100 streaming on all platforms right now, man. I agree with you, and what I was gonna ask you, I think Jay hits a 10 on a lot of marks, right? But when we're talking about Soulful Jay, where does he rank in that? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's one of the greatest MCs of all time, but we never. What's the word I'm looking for? We don't look for him to make an album like The Roots. We don't look for him to, give us that soulfulness. Even, I mean, I'm looking at an Outkast record right now. I'm looking at Liberation when you're talking about the length of a song. Right. Songs like Liberation and Spodioti are that long because of the instrumentation, because of the breakdowns, and because of the full soulful experience. We come to Jay for bars. Live
band playing.
Has Jay ever rhymed on a record with a live band? Because I know D'Angelo does that a lot. That's D'Angelo's motif, honestly. Is there a Jay-Z record that's not an unplugged record, but just a straight-up record with live instrumentation that sticks out to you?
No, I guess that's the thing. And here's always been the conundrum with him. He's probably... And I don't mean this in a disrespectful way at all. He's the trendiest rapper who ever lived, Mike. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's always been even more like, you can go back and listen to Pac's music. Pac wasn't trying to be trendy. Pac's music was just timeless. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Big's music encapsulates that era perfectly. Jay is somebody who his motif in a lot of ways is to be trendy, to be cutting edge, to be current, to be new. And so, outside of the organized noise camp, how much live instrumentation did you really hear from Jay's era? And so he never really delved into that world because it was never really his thing. And that's where it's like, well, you doing a biblical song is more reflective of where you are than where the times are. And he's always been the opposite. And so that's what I think makes it more difficult listen, is because of the expectations.
Yeah, and we do come to him for bars. And if we're talking about a 9-10 minute song, this isn't, I'm not trying to be funny. This isn't a situation where Jay-Z could pick up a flute and, we'll be good with 9 minutes. People are going to be looking for him to rhyme for a good portion of that 9 to 10 minute song.
Yes.
Unless we got D'Angelo riffing for like 3 minutes.
I was about to say, I expect a D'Angelo riff somewhere in the beginning, middle, or end, or maybe all three if this song is 9 minutes.
Right. Either that or...
like the real version of How Does It Feel, it's pretty damn long. You know what I mean? Like, so, D'Angelo does the live band 6-7 minute song thing and does it rather well. And so for the length of the song, I am expecting... How about this? If it's a 9 minute song, I'm expecting about 3 to 4 minutes of this to belong to D'Angelo and the band to make it more palatable.
Well, just from a vocal standpoint, how do you think these two mesh? Like, just being fans of both.
Do you remember when, of course you remember the record Left and Right with Method and Red, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think D'Angelo can work with anybody. You remember the Lady remix with AZ?
I love that record.
Yeah, so D'Angelo is one of those artists that, I think damn near any rapper sounds good next to him because he's so funky. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I don't expect that to be a problem for Jay because Jay is, iconic and great and second greatest MC of all time. So I don't expect the pairing to be a problem at all. I'm just worried about the length affecting the quality. But I'm excited to hear it. For me, this is a good kickoff to the year.
I agree. And we need that.
Especially after last year.
Right. Hold on one second. One second. Let's fix something real quick. Yeah, I agree with that. We do need to start this year off with a bang. We talked last episode about J. Cole. And so obviously that anticipation is there. What did you think about like makeups to breakups, Method Man and D'Angelo?
I like that record, but I don't love that record. But I think some of that is because I'm such a big fan of I'll Be There For You by Method Mary. Like, such a big fan of that record. It is still hip hop's greatest love song, in my opinion. And so I think that there was some piggyback off of the Method Mary I'll Be There For You effect with the breakups to makeups record, but it's still a dope song. It's one of those songs, too, that it probably doesn't get enough credit for how dope it was when it came out. It's just, I think not what Methcore audience wanted, and it's just not I'll Be There For You. But it's a dope record.
Cool. Can I check on something real quick? Maya's walking the dog. I gotta, see what's going on.
That's fine. Go ahead.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, sounds perfectly good. Actually, I'll take this time. I don't know if you follow me on Twitter. If you do, you should. It's called All the Things with Coop on Twitter. I'm actually doing a station head tonight with Hip Hop Talks. Sean and Adriel actually they're still followers of this show, but Adriel is one of our staunchest supporters and one of our best super chatters early on. They've started their own thing called Hip Hop Talks, and Hip Hop Talks and me and the Fresh Out podcast. Shout out to Fresh Out for pulling up with us tonight. They're doing a station head at 9:30 for a little rewind 2023, where we're going to recap the 2023 year. So if you all are not familiar, like and subscribe to, of course, the whole According to Hip Hop page, my YouTube page, All the Things with Coop. Shout out to Fresh Out for showing me and Mike D love and respect and paying homage all the time. It really feels good to be appreciated in this space. Definitely pull up on Hip Hop Talk Station Head tonight at 9:30. Like to see us and check us out and all the things that we're going to be doing. I'm excited about this year. You're going to see me all over the place. Shout out to my dear, dear friend for life, Andrew and Mira Music. Andrew sent me the most inspirational text message the other day. This time a year ago, Mira Music only had 200 followers on YouTube, and now we're over 1,700. And most of you wonderful people at According to Hip Hop have a lot to do with that. So just continue to show us love and support. I have done the pilot for my show, All the Things with Coop. We're editing that out right now. I'm actually about to start getting footage for that out right now. And perfect timing. Mike D's back.
My bad, man. What happened was, man, my daughter's walking the neighbor's dog, and there was an alert in the neighborhood saying that a dog had gotten loose and bit somebody or something. So I was making sure she was good. But she's good. Had to check on that.
That's some real suburban shit when you're getting neighborhood alerts about a dog being bitten. Like when you're growing up in the projects, it's just you found out on the school bus the next day. It's be like, yeah, Cujo got loose and bit 3 niggas.
Not Cujo. But yeah, man, the expectations for this D'Angelo and Jay record, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I'm hoping for the best because, like you said, we need this year to start off well, especially after how 2023 was. Not to say that 2023 was a bad hip-hop year, but it wasn't a year of stars soaring. And I think that, Hit-Boy and Nas, they did some incredible stuff last year, but I think that we've gotten so accustomed to them taking over the years that it wasn't even a shock anymore. And I say that in glowing fashion.
Yeah, here's the thing about it. When you do so much great material in a short period of time, there is some rub-off effect where you get used to it. That's why I was saying that Magic 3 isn't really probably going to get the real props that it deserves until later on.
Magic 2. I think that about Magic 2 because it got caught in the middle of all of these.
I mean, I think you could say it about both. I think we'll look back at it and be like, man, that's very, what came out the same year? Was it Stillmatic and Godson or was it Lost Tapes and Godson?
It was Lost Tapes and Godson. Because Stillmatic
it's going to have some of that effect where it's like, well, damn, it's way better than I thought. You know?
Yeah, and it's like, do we know if Magic 3 was like some leftover songs from the rest of the sessions, or did they start fresh after Magic 2 to Magic 3? Because Magic 3 came very quickly.
I think that Magic 3 was a concentrated effort
Right.
to put certain tracks together, but about the concentrated effort and about Hit-Boy's versatility, we really don't know where those tracks came from. Like, I
Right.
wouldn't be surprised. What, it's 16 records, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if about 5 to 7 of those were recorded like sometime during the course of 2023, and they was like, nah, slide that over there.
I mean, you can't even tell. Like, I mean, if the only thing that tells you is whatever they're talking about. Like, if there's certain cultural references in society, those are the only things that can make you pinpoint to when this was made. Because, like I said, vocally and just the way he was rhyming on Magic, the first one, Magic 1, you could have easily told somebody that was recorded in 98.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I think that's what I mean about like how crafty they are. I think they knew that too, which is why there was the current pop culture references, like in the album to let you know it's like, nah, this ain't no shit he recorded in '98 that Hit Boy went and redid.
Right.
That's some shit that they did in the last 90 days.
Yeah, he sounds like this.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, you're right. There was probably an intent to say, you know what? Let me make sure people know that this is new. Shout out to the Dumont show with the super chat says, guys, let the media massage fest commence after this song drops. They're gonna make a big ass deal over this song that's going to be mid. Y'all are already proclaiming this mid. I will say this, whether it's good.
Jay deserves more credit than that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think people really understand. It's like a lot of people who think Jay-Z is the greatest MC of all time. I know Jay's catalog better than those people do. I'm a big fan, and so I'm never going to count him out.
Right. I think that he always is going to have the ability to make great material. To me, I think that it's more so about the direction, right?
Yes.
I don't know where Jay's direction is going to be at in these times and how well it's going to connect because, as you said, he's respectfully been a trendy rhymer or artist, let's say, during the peaks of his careers. And that was part of what made him constantly relevant. That was part of what made him the superstar that he became, was the fact that he was on the precipice of everything that was happening at the time. And he was able to entertain us with everything that was happening in his life at the time. So the only thing that I question at this point when it comes to Jay, and I think this is the only thing that's holding us back from getting a full effort, is, okay, what's this about to be about? What's the direction? Because I think the past two albums, even though 444, many people bought into that, I don't think that the direction satisfied the masses as he normally does, if that makes any sense.
Well, I mean, in fairness, you know, there are a lot of people that think that the way that we've talked about this Nas and Hit-Boy run is overrated. They're like, oh no, this ain't better than Lost Tapes and Godson and Stillmatic, and It Was Written and Illmatic. It's like, well, maybe it's not better than Illmatic and It Was Written, but the rest of the shit is conversational.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we're looking for quality music. We're not looking for nostalgia. I'm not looking for a Jay-Z album to make me feel like the Blueprint made me feel in 2001 when it first came out. I'm not looking for that. You're never gonna get that. I think I was listening to Only Built for Cuban Links one day, and I heard Incarcerated Scarfaces, and I'm thinking about, Rap City, and, when those dudes was on the projects on the, on the roof and all that shit, and the way I felt watching those videos as a kid in Brooklyn Zoo, I'm never going to get that feeling again. Now, I can, as a hip-hop fan, hear some dope new hip-hop and feel great about it and be like, but it's not going to be to that level again, and I feel like with Jay, and even with us doing this show, I recognize that we can look at efforts for what they are and give praise to quality and great music and not have those level of expectations. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely, Mike. I still see Ray in the elevator of the incarcerated Scarface's
Yeah.
video in my mind. I still see Meth when Meth rolls up on the camera
Yep.
and does the actual scar on his face, like on the camera. I
Yeah.
still see all those images, like I'm still that same 13, 14-year-old kid.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I'm not looking for that again. I have that already.
Right. At this
I got
point,
that.
I think, our veterans making quality material, it's just furthering the genre. You know what I'm saying? It's they're in no man's land right now. I mean, Jay's done it. Nas is doing it currently, where nobody's really been where these guys are at this point and be this active and make quality music. So these are bonus hours. It's kind of like what LeBron's doing right now. Like LeBron should have retired 3-4 years ago. I would be terrible to critique him for what he's doing right now on the court.
Mike, he out here dunking on Paul George.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Crazy.
Brother Gabe with the super chat says, in retrospect, Jay saying to do songs that matter and not a bunch of tunes, he was probably talking about this song. At his age now, maybe he wants epic songs since he has the hits already. It's a good point. I didn't even think about when he said making records that matter. So, okay, does that statement add any more gravity to the expectations of this record?
No.
Okay.
The expectations can never get greater when it comes to him. The expectation is for you to be great.
Right.
The end of story. It doesn't, I mean, that's the thing. At the end of the day, even though this isn't what I would call in his wheelhouse or my necessarily cup of tea that I would drink from the cup of Hove, like the book of Hove, the cup of Hove.
I
Right.
got you.
Cup runneth over. Right. See all the
I see
biblical
what you
references.
did there, yeah.
Right. Right. No, I still expect it to be great because it's you. And if it's not, I'm going to say so. You feel me?
Well, you know what? With
'Cause
this
it's you.
movie being
No, it's
this
like you're
movie is a
Jay-Z. I
biblical
expect what
movie.
you do to be great.
This movie is a biblical movie. We're probably going to get a lot of biblical references, though. All jokes aside. Mad Max with the super chat says, "I'm sorry, no disrespect. The total verse from Biggie is not better than the whole verse with Maya. Them polls is nasty." Did you see that poll where we asked what's the better R&B or I guess rap feature on the R&B record? Biggie's verse on Totals Can't You See or Jay-Z on Maya's The Best to Me remix?
I
And
literally saw it.
Biggie landslide. Agree or disagree?
I agree. Big is just, you don't say this about Jay too often. Big's just more charismatic than Jay. And him and Pac are probably the only dudes that can say that. And this is what I mean. Biggie's voice goes to that drop and that beat better than Jay's voice does to The Best of Me. And so it's a better pairing and a fit. That's what I mean. Biggie's got that heavy boom, boom in his voice. How that beat go? Boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? It's
the big
just more of a
payback.
fit. It's a more iconic moment for rap, Mike. It's Puff and Total and Big in fucking Times Square at night with the black and the white. It's a moment, Mike. And everybody know, give me all the chicken heads from Pasadena to Medina. Get big, get in between you. Then no, it's nasty, Mike. It's
Puff is catching a lot of news and strays over the past couple of weeks.
no, he ain't
for
catching
other
strays,
stuff.
Mike. Those are bullets. Those are bullets.
Bullets,
Mike. Those are not
whatever
strays.
you
Those
want to call it.
hollows.
But
Those are hollow.
the way Bad Boy put together their products and packaged their artists and had them collaborating together, it was genius. They did a great job. And when you think about Can't You See, that's one of those moments. You know what I'm saying? Like that moment, Mace being on the remix of 112's
Only You.
Only You, yep. And shit, Big being on the original. Like those are moments, but like you said, Can't You See is a moment. You got the Big Payback sample, boom. New Jersey Drive theme, so you already got the dark there. And then Big's coming in there setting it off. I think Big, man, when we talk about niggas who set off verses, Big is very understated in that sense. There's not many niggas who can come in and set off a record better than Big. And he's proven it time after time. Whether it be a posse cut, whether it be an R&B cut, whatever.
Niggas is mad I get more butt than ashtrays.
Fuck a fair one, I get mine the fast way.
The fast way. Ski mask way, nigga, ransom notes. It's far from handsome, but damn a nigga tote. And they go Puff, what you tote?
More guns than roses, hoses, shaking in their boots, invisible bully. Like, come on, man. Like, but see, just like what we were saying a few months back about opening lines, how important that is, there's nothing more important than the opening verse on a rap record. I mean, from a DJ perspective, from a listener perspective, it sets the song off. And when you start thinking about all the greatest hip-hop songs ever, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today too, that first verse matters. You can't have your best verse second, third, or even fourth sometimes. And I think, as much as I love Scenario, I think that Scenario peaking at the end kind of holds it back against other records. You know what I mean?
I absolutely agree.
Because look at All About the Benjamins. Yeah, Puff might not have had the best verse, but that verse is important and very strong.
You want to know what it is? The verse is catchy.
Yeah.
What y'all want to do? Want to be ballers, shot callers, brawlers, who be dipping in the bins with
it pulls
spoilers.
You into the song.
Yes. So, like, is it the weakest verse on there? Kind of, sort of.
Maybe.
But, first of all, there's not a weak verse on the song.
Right. You're just saying who the weakest rapper is on there, really.
I'm about to say, it's really not even a weak verse. It's just he's got...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's Kiss, and it's Chic, and it's Big, and it's Kim. Well, Puff has the worst delivery.
Right. And he would probably be okay with that. He's like, well, shit. Inspector with the super chat says, Jay's been hit or miss for the last 15 years. Let's see. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, Jay isn't making songs that matter now, though. God Did's verse was 4 minutes of wealthy billionaire talk and was empty. I hope that he doesn't spend 9 minutes of Jay's self-comparison to Jesus or struggles. Sounds like you may have gotten a sneak peek of the record. 88 Spencer with the super chat says, Happy New Year. Looking forward to the content in 2024 from A2HH. Appreciate that. But, okay, back to Can't You See versus The Best of Me. All right, Big's Big, Jay's Jay. We'll get to that in a second. Can't You See is just a better song than the Best of Me remix. You know what I'm saying? Like, the beat's better. The hook's better.
Just better.
Just a better song.
At every turn.
Right.
Right. It's not a disrespectful type of thing. It's like, no, Big and Puff and Bad Boy, we're making better records than everybody damn near.
Yeah, with the exception of Death Row, and that's about it. You know, that was why they were the competition, because, I mean, Bad Boy...
That's how it got competitive, Mike. Puff made it competitive.
He did.
It was Death Row.
I will say that. And that's one thing you got to give Bad Boy is the fact that, yeah, there were a lot of people in New York rhyming circles around folks, but they weren't making better records than the Death Row guys. The only people that were making that song for song, record, radio, album, package competitive was Bad Boy.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Illmatic brought rhyming and lyricism and skills back to the East Coast and to hip hop as a whole. Ready to Die and the Bad Boy run brought the notoriety back to compete because, man, them West Coast niggas was like literally selling triple and quadruple what the East Coast niggas was. Like literally.
Yeah,
no, Snoop doing 5, Dre doing 4, Cube doing 3, Pac doing 3, 4. The soundtracks are going double platinum, Mike. The soundtracks are going double platinum.
But you know why that is, and I've always said this. Songs sell records, especially in that era, even today. You know what I mean? Like, hit songs sell records. And Death Row had the hits. Snoop had the hits. Dre had the hits. Pac had the hits. And you're going to sell records with hits. Quality albums, they're great, but you're going to need that one song, especially in that day when media was basically just radio and television. You're going to need that one song that's going to pull everybody into you as an artist to make you a fan or to make new people a fan. And Bad Boy had that. Death Row had that.
In spades.
In spades. And you know what? Jay-Z found a way to get into that fold, and I think soundtracks, we've spoken of this before, soundtracks were Jay-Z's way in the game to make that impact. I think Ain't No Nigga featuring Foxy Brown being on the Nutty Professor soundtrack, which was on Def Jam, and Foxy was on Def Jam, and Def Jam needed every opportunity to show Foxy some light because she had her debut coming. All those things worked for Jay-Z with that record becoming what it became. Because I'm going to be honest with you, Coop. Here, 96, I'm 14 years old. I heard records on, I heard like Feeling It. I think I heard Can't Knock the Hustle. But Ain't No Nigga was the one that was playing all summer. And I knew that record. I didn't really know Reasonable Doubt like that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't.
I agree. I remember Dead Presidents was getting a lot of run on like BET on like Rap City and stuff.
Right.
How about this? I remember when Dead Presidents 2 debuted on Rap City. I remember watching that episode. And here was the thing about it. I was like, who's this nigga sitting down with Big and AZ? That was my takeaway from the record. Right. I was like, who's this guy? I was like, is that Big right there? I was like, is that A right there? Because you have to understand, this is 96. Biggie and AZ are platinum rappers.
Yeah.
Jay is not.
Yeah.
That was my takeaway from it.
I agree.
I totally understand you. Yeah.
I agree. It was like that. And,
it was like that.
And he said that, too. I mean, even on Hard Knock Life. I mean, but he utilized everything he could at the time without having a major company behind him like the rest of those artists did to get to where he got to. And I think Foxy Brown was very important in that equation. I remember when Ain't No Nigga was out, and again, Biggie was in that video. This was more so about Foxy Brown. I knew who she was. I had heard her on many things. Obviously, she had the Def Jam thing going with her as well. I knew her a lot more than I knew him. And I'm sure he knew those things. That's why he was very selective with the people that he got on his album, even from a production standpoint. I got to work with Preem. Preem gets attention. Let me work with Preem. You know what I mean? I got Big on this album. I got Mary on this album. I got Foxy on this album. He couldn't afford to go out there and do this album dolo, even though he had the skill set to do it. But he had to have those features on Reasonable Doubt for people outside of New York to know who he was. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And very, very smart. And he used the vehicle for soundtracks to get to where he got to. He did it with Who You With on Volume 1. He did it with Can I Get Her on Volume 2 in conjunction with Hard Knock Life because, again, Can I Get Her is a big part of that Volume 2 run. That's Rush Hour. Boom. Volume 3, there was, around that time he had the Blue Street song, right? And then he had Hey Poppy that was after that. That was Nutty Professor 2.
Yeah. No, he's a soundtrack maven.
He might be the king of soundtracks in hip hop.
A lot of his big records have come via the soundtrack. Yes.
Yeah. La La La. That was Bad Boy 2. I feel like around Blueprint 2 time, were there any soundtracks to be named? And it makes me think. Because since soundtracks really aren't a thing anymore, unless, Jay-Z's doing it, because, this is on a soundtrack, we really don't get a lot of soundtracks like we used to back in the day. How would Jay's career have gone in this era with no soundtracks to speak of?
It's hard to deny somebody like Jay. Jay is one of those guys that his business mind is so savvy, and he's such a hard worker, and he's such a great hustler, and I mean hustler in a positive way, that I don't think he was going to be denied. No. And so he still would have found a way within this generation that works, because that's just who he is. He's going to find a way to make it work. That's what a good hustler does.
I agree.
And so I think soundtracks were just the gateway for it for the time and the era. That's what I mean. That's what I mean about him being current and always trendy. It's like, no, he probably didn't want to do all that soundtrack work, but he knew that it worked. And so he made it work because his business acumen, his work ethic is like that.
Yeah.
Always has been.
That's why when people say if Big was here, Jay wouldn't be who he is and this and that, it's like, I don't agree with that because I think this guy would have figured it out. The path would have been
No,
different, but he would have figured it out.
this is what I'm one of those people that feel that way. And and it's just strictly like on a level of they do two similar things.
Right.
And one guy was better at it than the other. And so I'm not saying Jay wouldn't have been massive. You know what I'm saying? But he would not be as big if Big was here because you would go to Big first, respectfully.
Do you
Jay.
think that Jay would have outworked Big?
Here's the thing, Mike. I don't think it would have mattered. The only thing Jay has over Big is that he's more lyrically inclined as a traditional lyricist. Big's hit-making skills are better than Jay's. His hook game, his voice, definitely the fucking storytelling.
Well,
the delivery is even better. Even for how sick Jay's flow is, Big's is sicker.
It is. Now, we just got finished talking about Bad Boy and its system and how great Puff was and integral in that part. Do you think Big is that deadly as an artist if he's no longer on Bad Boy? How does that change things?
I think Puff's greatest contribution to hip hop is making Big become well-rounded, and so we'll never know.
Yeah.
Because I think, Big's the type of MC that wanted to release Machine Gun Funk instead of Juicy.
Right.
And so we can never forget that Big's aesthetic is probably a little bit more hardcore than Jay's is. Like I wouldn't say he's more of a head, but he's more into the streets. Like he loves the Who Shot Ya and the Machine Gun Funk records more than Jay probably does love those types of records. And so how about this? Without Puff, it's a more balanced fight.
It's interesting when Jay was sitting down with Gail King, he said that on Volume 1, Big heard Streets is Watching. And Big's response was like, your whole album gonna sound like this? And I know Gail, being in the lane that she's in, she probably didn't go deeper into that question. But I didn't know if he was coming from a context where it's like, is Big saying like, nah, man, you're gonna need some bangers? Or was Big saying, you need your whole album to sound like this? You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know where Big's mind is when it comes to, like you said, him doing it on his own. Because we always hear those records that hit the radio were Puff's idea. Or Puff had to convince him to do something.
This is what I'm saying with that. The Big that I've studied was probably saying that like, oh shit, this nigga's about to give me some competition.
Right.
Not looking at him like, oh, this ain't gonna cut it, fam. He was, because Big likes the Machine Gun Funks and the Who Shot Ya records, and Streets is Watching is in that vein. So I think he was really bigging up Jay more than he was saying like, oh, fam, you're gonna have to switch this up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
And the reason why I was even more confused about it because of how Volume 1 went. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, if Big co-signed Streets is Watching like that, you still went out there and made I Know What Girls Like. You made Sunshine. You made these other records that weren't in the vein of this, so I didn't know if it came from a perspective of, okay, this is a dope song, but you're going to need more range. So I wish that Jay would have had the opportunity to expound upon what that conversation was like. But I'm with you. I think it probably was coming from that place.
Well, Jay is also one of the smartest men that you'll ever meet. And so he knows that leaving that right there like that leads you to guess about both sides of it. It's like with Big saying it like, oh shit, this nigga's coming and this shit is like ridiculously hard because it is Streets is Watching is still one of Jay's best songs. Definitely one of his 10 best songs to me still to this day. Or was he saying like, Playboy, you need some hits. Let's do I Love the Dough. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Jermaine Johnson.
I mean, and I'll tell you something. I think Big loved Jay more than people realize because every time I hear I Love the Dough, I'm like, this record is more suited for Jay than Big, and it's the only record on Life After Death like that.
It's the Angela Winbush sample. That's what Jay shines on. Like Angela Winbush shit, Jay shines on. Imaginary Player, I'll Be by Foxy Brown. So yes, it was made for him. Jermaine Johnson.
Big love Jay.
Yeah. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, also, Hov's American Gangster was an unofficial soundtrack album. That's funny. I was just watching that movie, and just hearing some of the individual clips in the movie that made it on the album. it's just funny, man. Like, I think that was a real creative spin to make an album, but I feel like it was a way to get inspiration without having to dig for inspiration. You know what I'm saying? And those are some of the things, even though that one worked out, those are some of the things that kind of question where the direction for the next album, if there is even going to be a next album,
Right.
makes me think like, I don't know if he has that figured out. Like, for better or for worse, certain artists, and I'm not going to mention their names because I done lost too many song for song matchups, whether it's good or bad, I know they're going to come up with some type of concept. You know what I'm saying? But I don't feel that way when it comes to Jay. Like, I don't. Because like you said,
Right.
it's always about what's current, whether it's what's current in the world or what's current with him. And currently right now, I mean, we've heard about art. You know what I'm saying? He did that with Holy Grail when he got into the whole art world. 444 is more of an introspective and, relationships, interpersonal things. And now, I mean, what's changed? Like, we got business is business. Art is art. I mean, do you just continue to give updates on those things? I don't know. I don't have the answers, but I'm just saying as a fan and just as somebody who's observed his career the whole time, I just don't see what the next direction would be.
I mean, well, to quote him, he is the subject, verb, and the predicate for this rich nigga rhetoric.
He is.
And so it's kind of what I go to him for. And here's the thing about it is like, it's funny. You know how people talk about Pusha T? We should talk about that Pusha T text that's leaking out.
We should talk about that.
Yeah. You know how people are like, this is how hard it is to exist in a lane. People are like, oh, well, I'm tired of Pusha T and the Coke rap thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but he's so damn inventive at it. Jay has been so inventive at the rich nigga rhetoric that he's kind of a victim of his own brilliance at it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And we never expect anybody in rap to last this long doing these things.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, hip hop has always been about being flashy. You know, it has. That come in the kit. You got to be flashy. You got to stunt a little bit. Like Rakim and Kane was dropping knowledge. Niggas had on 6 big ass gold chains and Gucci suits, Mike.
It was happening. Yes.
It was still happening. The dudes were still running the streets with a lot of dudes that was running the streets. Mike, Cool G Rap. Cool G Rap songs literally, like Road to Riches, is literally talking about how he's going to come up from slinging dope on the corner. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So all the dope boy talk, all the flashy talk, it comes with it, and nobody's done it better than Jay. And so he is a victim of his own success in the sense that it's like, well, you talk this shit so well, so early, so intricately better than anybody before you. The only person that even existed on his level in terms of talking that talk was G-Rap. You know what I'm saying? And he's just more charismatic and affable than G-Rap. You know what I'm saying? And so he is a victim of that. And so you do get tired of it a little bit. It's like, especially like, well, nigga, I can't afford a Warhol. So after a while, it becomes, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different when he's talking about, pushing the newest car. Because it's like, well, that car is a little bit more attainable than a Warhol is. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, it's different when he's talking about, well, my ice ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, it's not, but I'm not that far away from the jewelry that you rock. It's like, I can go to the Diamond District in New York and go get me some VVS paperwork, too. You feel what I'm saying?
And you also have to have a palate for some of those things, too. I think somebody could see a nice car, a fancy car, and if chicks like the car, too, you'd be like, yo, I want that car. But when it comes to art, you have to have, those experiences to be able to appreciate it.
You have to have an appreciation level, right? And so some of his balling in his later years, as he's gone from rich to extraordinarily wealthy, has been the fact that, well, Mike, I mean, everybody knows me this. I love some artwork. There's always artwork hanging on the wall in this house. My cousin's a painter. The guy who put me on the hip hop's a painter and an artist. I love art. I've always had an eye for art. I've always had an appreciation for art. Most dudes where we from don't. You know what I'm saying? And so you lose people in that. It's like, no, when Salvador Dali has an exhibit coming to Atlanta, no, I genuinely get excited. You know what I'm saying? When Van Gogh has an exhibit coming to town, I genuinely get excited. Most of us that come from the circumstances we come from do not feel that way. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, it genuinely excites me. And so he is talking over people's heads.
Yep. Zuri with the super chat says, I think those records you're referencing from Volume 1, Mike, were also Puff influenced. Weren't some of those records or beats originally for Big? Now, I never heard that, but I know he recorded that album at Daddy's house. Quote unquote, that was the name of Puff's studio. I'm just saying. Um, so, yeah, I know that album was recorded there, and I think Puff's the executive producer of that album, too, right?
Correct.
Or one of them. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, and I remember the articles back then. I think it was The Source, where the Jay-Z interviews about Volume 1 were more so about him feeling like he had to basically take on and take over for Big.
Yeah.
So,
It's
I,
in the linear notes of the album.
yeah. So I don't know if Big Lives, if that album even sounds like that. So maybe some of those choices were based on the fact that that void was left and he felt like it was his responsibility as Big's guy and somebody who was already working with the camp to actually fill that void. I look at him opening up for Puff differently now.
How
Um,
so?
because knowing Jay and how smart he is and cerebral that he is, I feel like when he took the job at Def Jam, that was the president's job at Def Jam is what, 2004. I think that was Jay wanting to see firsthand what the inner workings of that industry was like so that he could branch off and do his own thing, right? I think that he was trying to get the system down. And looking back
Yes.
at it, I think that's what the Puff tour was too. He wanted to see the inner workings of how a major tour works, figured that out. Him and his team went and did the Hard Knock Life tour right after that. So,
I mean, a wise man once told me when I was in high school, Mike, that the only way to truly impact the system here in America the way that it's designed is to infiltrate it first.
right.
And so Jay mastered that as well as anybody in our community has in
He's
the
still
past
doing
quarter
it.
century.
He's still doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Mad Max with the super chat says, if Big had lived with how, with Hove, I guess he says Hove. If Big had lived with how New York is, people would have been jacking Hove more eventually because that's how people are. Same way people say Beans was better than Hove, Big's Teflon because the brother's dead. And he was elite. I don't know, man. I mean, it's hard to
I
say.
respectfully disagree.
Yeah, me
'Cause part of the
too.
reason part of the reason why Big's legacy lives so large and looms so large has nothing to do with his death and everything to do about the quality of work that he left when he died. You have to be careful about how you frame that. It's not about him dying, it's about the quality of work that he did while he was here.
I agree.
His death just magnified the quality of it. The quality stands, Mike.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, and I say this respectfully, he's a great lyricist, man. Big Pun, he has 2 albums just like Big did. Now, Big has a double disc, but there's levels when it comes to the quality of the material that they put out. And I remember my first time going to New York. It was like Puerto Rican Day Parade or whatever. I was just shocked. And this wasn't even that long after Pun had passed. Pun was immortalized in the city. You know what I'm saying? And rightfully so. He was incredible. But even with that being said, there's only a few Pun records that we hear. There are like 20 big joints that we hear from right now. And that's the music. That has nothing to do with how things turned out. Now, granted, him and Pac had the most publicized murders possibly in music history. But he has the music to actually, live on top of that as well. So I don't think it's
Mike,
just that,
this is what I mean about Big. No, I still wake up some days and have the urge to listen to Ready or Die or Life After Death.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I need to hear that Ready to Die. I need to hear that Life After Death. There aren't a lot of people that make albums like that, where it's like you wake up one day and it's like, no, I think I want to hear Unbelievable and Everyday Struggle and The What. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, them records are special. That guy is special.
Thumbs up in the chat, y'all. Hit like and subscribe if you already haven't. We're about to really get into it. We're going to finish talking about this Jay situation, and we're going to talk about Rock the Bells and them ranking Shook Ones Part 2 is the greatest rap beat of all time. I think we got like the top 20 list. They did like 50, but we'll go through that too. But yeah, thumbs up in the chat. Humble Bragger with the super chat says, is this 9 Minute J record called Epstein Island? I don't know. That sounds more like an Eminem record. I'm joking.
Both of y'all are wild.
But that's what Game said. That's what I could see. You couldn't see Eminem making a song called Epstein Island. I could. Mad Max with the super chat says, only you guys outside of New York in real time look at Big that way. I know old heads that told me Big wasn't bigger than meth until he died. See, that's
those are lies.
That's how y'all do it in NY, man. Respectfully.
Those are lies.
Y'all gotta uphold your legends, man.
Those are lies.
Listen, at the time,
those are lies.
Method Man was my favorite rapper. But there's nothing that I could substantially even tell somebody as a Method Man fan in 1996, 95, 97 to substantiate why Method Man is better than Big. Because he out-rapped him on one song? Possibly, and that's even debatable.
First of all, I think the rap-off was a draw on the what. I think Meth has the best verse on verse 1, Big has the best verse on verse 2. In 1995, Meth has I'll Be There For You. Big has the One More Chance remix. So let's call those songs a draw. How about that whole Get Money remix, Mike? How about Get Money? How about Players Anthem? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
you didn't even mention
Can't
Juicy.
You See? Look, how about the Can't You See verse?
You didn't even mention Juicy.
It's like, no, that's crazy.
You didn't even mention Juicy or Big Papa either. I mean,
that's 94 shit.
Oh, okay, but I'm just saying, because Method Man dropped to Cal in 94.
I personally think that Bring the Pain is better than those records, but that's personal preference.
Huh. I think so, too. I'd pick
Bring the Pain's better than Juicy and Big Papa to me.
And Bring the Pain is better than Warning.
I'm kind of like Big. I like that street shit. You know what I'm saying?
Bring the Pain is better than Warning as well.
Fascinating, yes.
I think it is.
Fascinating, though.
It's not by a lot.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, Bring the Pain is special to me.
But at the end of the day, Tikal ain't fucking with Ready to Die. And I say that respectfully. I love
very few
Method
albums are fucking with Ready to Die.
Mad Max in the super chat says, I wasn't alive, Mike. That's what I was told. Now, I feel you. But I think sometimes what we do, unfortunately...
They told you wrong.
There's two things that happen. People do get inflated in death. Yes, it's true. That happens. But sometimes us knowing that happens, when somebody is truly worthy of the adulation, sometimes we minimize that. And I think that's what happens with Big. And Pac too. It's not about the fact that these guys died or were murdered. Look at the music. Look at what they left behind.
Listen to the songs now.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. And I'm not even talking about the songs that feed into those eerie narratives. I'm not even talking about you're nobody till somebody kills you.
Like, how about this? It's like, Nas and Jay are our two greatest MCs, right?
Yeah.
Mike, do a verses. You take Nas and Jay. I'll take Big and Pac.
Yeah.
You're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
You're in a lot of trouble.
They got timeless records. It is what it is. And when you look at Big's skill set, I mean, I'll go to the mat and say I feel like he might be overall the most skilled MC we've ever had. He had Scarface abilities.
Agreed.
He had whatever lyrical ability. He had Kane lyrical abilities. He had versatility that LL Cool J had. Like, he could do everything before people could do everything. That's the part. I think we're used to people doing everything.
I think he had Kane lyrical ability by the time 90. I don't think it's Kane lyrical ability on Ready to Die.
Out the gate,
I do get what you're saying.
I think out the gate, it's more of a Scarface. I would say it's more of a Scarface influence. But then
Scarface Ice Cube.
Yeah, and he started building on his style, and like you said with the Get Money remix, where he's like Frank Wright the Desperado, used to rock the all black Movado, the all black El Dorado, like
all that in a bottle of Dom P.
Can't harm me, I keep the armies. Brooklyn in the house without a doubt. I'm the rapper with clout. Everybody yap about. Check it out. Guns are bustin'. Problems with my wife, don't discuss them.
Coops and Learjets, I lust them. Fingerprints, I dust them.
Yeah, now that's when he gets to that next level.
Bananas.
Firebird Phoenix with the super chat. Shout out to him. He says, we hit New York April 97 to hang loose, and we banged out on Life After Death, drinking Bacardi Limon and, what was that, Batim Wildin' for 2 days. It was electric up there then. I could believe it. Like I said, my first time in New York, early 2000s, all they were playing was Big. The man had been gone for like 6-7 years at the time. Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, he has the records too.
Records are classics.
As much as I love Big L, I wish we got more from L. But you can't tell me that we're out here playing 3 or 4, even 5 Big L records to the end of time.
I mean, respectfully to Big L, his most notarized records are Put It On, MVP, and Ebonics. That is not big level. Straight up. It's not big level.
And honestly, his freestyle with Jay.
That's not big level either.
Yeah. So, you know, we got to put some respect on the quality of material that Big put together in such a short period of time. And he wasn't really I guess he was a studio rat if you think about it, because he wrote a lot of the stuff. Well, he wrote the Junior Mafia stuff, a lot of the Kim stuff. He wrote a double disc. He did his album. And, you know, songs like Who Shot Ya, and then the remixes came in 95. So, yeah, he was working
his ass off.
And not to mention the features, because really, there could be an argument made that this man could be the feature king. I'll put Big's features up against Busta Rhymes' features any day. Yeah, I said it.
Busta Rhymes ain't winning that.
Okay. But I'm just saying, we don't even look at Big for those things.
I look at Big for everything.
Right.
I'm in agreement with you. He is the most agile MC to ever touch a mic, Mike.
Leroy Green says Big L was going to sign to Rockefeller. What do you think that would have looked like? I mean, I hate the sidebar, but I mean, while we're talking about
that's true. He was in talks with, I mean, he obviously had a relationship with Jay going back, and that was a talk in a situation that was going on.
Oh, Dame confirmed it. He had the flyer and everything. Yeah.
Mike, I mean, Big L, Jay, and Siegel on the same label? Ooh.
But, I mean, what do you think Big L's records sound like?
I think somebody like Big L would have benefited from what Jay had learned about the game at that stage. And I think Dame and Jay would have crafted a more well-rounded version of Big L. We would have gotten better songs out of Big L. Like, we know the bars are there. You want to talk about somebody who's Kane like with the bars? That would be Big L. Now, he's Big Daddy Kane, like reincarnated lyrically.
I can't help but think that it's kind of like Sauce, though, man. It's like, and not saying that Big L and Sauce Money are comparable, but them being like lyricists on that level.
I think L better than Sauce.
I can feel you on that. And even though I love Sauce's wordplay, and I think that he is a big part of Jay taking his style to the next level as well. But from a song-making perspective, are they not similar? Because I just think that Sauce just never had that production that fit with him for the times. I think Sauce would have been more successful in that early 90s era, and I think when things start changing in the late 90s, that adjustment wasn't bringing the best out in him. And I feel similar ways about Big L. Like, what type of records would we expect from Big L in 98?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, no, I think they could have. How about this? You know, I'm not joking about that Kane comment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like that's the level that L was capable of operating on as an MC. It just hadn't fleshed out into full song form yet. And so I don't think Sauce has that. I love Sauce. Like, how about this? It's like, I could see Big L, not saying he would make this record, but I could see him making something like a Raw, a Set It Off, a Ain't No Half Stepping for the generation. I don't see that for Sauce.
I can see him making Raw. I can see him making Raw.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is like, and to be honest with you, like the big picture for me, the album, The Big Picture by Big L, it's like, no, Mike, he was almost there.
I do think that if this was going to happen, Jay as an artist and as an executive would have had to been all in. It couldn't have been no competitiveness going on. You know what I mean? Like the whole I'm taking the best beats thing. Like it would have had to have been more of a Common and Kanye situation. Like, listen, who I am. I'm gonna do my thing anyway, but I'm here to bring the best out in you. And I think that Siegel never really got that from Jay. I think Jay did it in the best way that he could, but it was more of a competitive fervor when it came to Siegel, as opposed to, yeah, I'm here to make you better and still be competitive. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, L's from Uptown, which is where Dame is from. So I think Dame would have had more of his hands around L than Jay would have. That's
Right.
for one.
He would have needed Jay, though. He would have.
Huh?
He would have needed Jay, though.
That's what I'm saying about how he was a step away. It's like, no, what Dame had done with Jay and for Jay, I think he had plans to do the same thing for L. And so I don't think that he would have needed Jay as much. And also, too, I think because Jay, quote unquote, found and signed Beanie Siegel, well, I mean, L helped put Jay on.
Yeah.
And so the respect is different.
It's different.
And also, too, I mean, and this is going to seem crazy to say because you know how I feel about Beans, but just like Beans is great in a different way than L and J are great. L and J are great in similar ways, especially at the time with that really slick, hard punchline, that Kane shit.
Mm-hmm.
They both do that extremely well. And so I say this respectfully. Nah, L can fade Jay a little bit, like at his game, the way a Beanie Siegel couldn't. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, no, I can do that street slick ass Big Daddy Kane talk just like you, fam. Like Siegel don't really got that. Siegel's something different. Siegel's more of a Scarface type. It's just more lyrically inclined than Scarface. It's like, nah, L and J kind of come from the school of Kane and Cool G rap.
I would have loved to have heard L and Beans do a lot of stuff together too. That would have been dope. Mad Max with the super chat says, if Fab had hits using L's style, Big L would have had hits too. He had a Rakim. He had the Rakim of punchline rappers change how punchlines got set up. Imagine L on the Blueprint. What song would you have put L on the Blueprint? I don't know.
How about this? This is what I mean about how L can do some of the things that Jay can do. I could hear him picking up. Like, how about this? I could see lyrical exercise being 3 verses and L having the second verse in between Jay's 2 verses.
That's what I was going to say, too. I think lyrical exercise is the one.
Yeah.
Thumbs up in the chat. All right, so Rock the Bells. I mean, we've been having a whole lot of producer talk lately, and I love it. And Rock the Bells actually had a list. I think it was a top 50 hip-hop beats of all time. And a lot of people were sending it to us. And I think that the articles that were out there floating on the internet, they were just talking about number one. But I kind of want to do a bit of a deep dive, if you guys don't mind, into some of the other beats that are on there as well. It's funny because I want to say on our last episode or episode before that, you were saying that Quiet Storm, you like that. It was last episode because we were talking about the White Line sample. Says you like Quiet Storm's beat over Shook One's Part 2. Well, Shook One's Part 2 is number 1 on this list. So,
no.
How do you feel?
I didn't quite say that exactly. Okay. I was just saying it's comparable.
Gotcha.
Like, for me, it's comparable. It's like everybody just goes to Shook One's Part 2. That's Prodigy's verse. The verse just fits so well with the beat. But if you're talking, like, how about this? Like, their manifesto, like Prodigy's manifesto is more Quiet Storm than Shook One's to me. You know, Shook One's is just a banger. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with it. But I think, like, Quiet Storm is what represents the Mobb Deep sound because it reflects Havoc's production and P's rhymes. Like, it's both of those things. Like, at the same time, I'm telling you, it's like Shook One's Part 2 is a top 10 verse of all time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. First verses being important once again.
I got you stuck off the realness. We be the infamous. You heard of us. Official Queensbridge murderers. Yeah, you can't fuck with that.
Hold on. I'm thinking about, all right, I want to ask you a question while I'm thinking about this. Who do you think in Wu-Tang is the best at setting songs off.
Inspect the Deck.
Really? He has shining
Mike,
moments. I think
Mike,
consistently, I'm going Ray.
their first song starts off with who? I smoke on the mic like smoking Joe Frazier, the Hellraiser, raising hell with the flavor, terrorize the jam like troops in Pakistan, swinging through your town like a neighborhood Spider-Man. So tick tock, keep ticking, or I get you flipping on the shit I'm kicking. The Lone Ranger, Code Red, Danger. Yeah. Abomatomically.
Give me Ray.
Socrates' philosophies. Poisonous paragraph. Smash the phonograph in half to be the Inspect the Deck on the warpath. Yeah, it's Deck.
I'm not mad at that pick. Consistently, I might go Ray, though.
Because if you're talking consistently over a course of time, it's Ray. But that's because Ray's there more than Deck is there.
Let me get to
Deck
this.
is there, it's Deck.
Let me get to this list. So, they got Shook Ones Part 2 at number 1 by Mobb Deep. Still DRE by Dr. Dre at number 2.
I don't agree. That's propaganda.
Propaganda. All right.
Propaganda.
Number 3, Electric
Hip-hop
Relaxation by Tribe. Flavor in Your Ear, number 4.
That's wild that Electric Relaxation is number 3, Mike. It's not even the best beat on that album. Award Tour is a better beat than Electric Relaxation. It always has been. Sorry.
We got. All right, we'll break this down. It's a lot already in these 3. Flavor in Your Ear, number 4. New York State of Mind, 5. Planet Rock, 6. Oh man, Troy, number 7. Annie Up, 8. Rough Riders Anthem, 9.
Toss that out. Doesn't belong in the top 25.
Right. All right. G Thang, 10. Rock the Bells, 11.
Wow.
Check the Rhyme by Tribe, 12. We haven't even gotten to Award Tour yet. All right. In the Club, 13.
No.
Peter Piper, Run DMC, 14. See,
Peter Piper's pretty dope.
It is.
I was listening to Peter Piper the other day. But I don't even know if that's the best Run DMC beat because I think Suck MCs might be a better beat than Peter Piper.
Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See, Busta Rhymes, 15.
No.
Crazy.
No.
Paul Revere, 16. Triumph, Wu-Tang, 17.
They're wild for doing that.
Let's start there.
That's where it got wild. When I saw Triumph in the top 20 and I was like, where's Cream?
Let's start there. How did that happen?
Boxing, Incarcerated Scarfaces. It's like, I can name about 15 RZA beats better than Triumph. Like, off the top of my head.
Yeah, why y'all here spamming Mad Max's
better
name?
Than the Triumph beat. This nigga's wild.
Yeah, somebody over here spamming Mad Max's name. You're popular out here, Mad Max. Yeah, man. How does the Triumph beat get the 17th greatest hip hop beat of all time?
So Mike, here's the thing that stands out about all the records that you name.
Okay.
Those are either really big smash records or records that are super important to hip hop culture. First of all, because this is what I mean about Illmatic. It's like when I say it bought rhymes and lyrics, like back and bought the East Coast back. Oh, that's the record that did it. You know what I'm saying? And so it is better than New York State of Mind Part 2, like I've been telling all of y'all for years now. Way better. I've been telling y'all that for years, but it's like, I don't know if it's top 5 because saying it's top 5 is saying it's Primo's best. It's like, is it one of Primo's 10 best beats in my opinion? Yes. Is it his best beat? I don't know about that, Mike. And saying that's Primo's best beat, just like saying Still DRE is Dre's best beat, it's like, nah, fam, I don't think so. Nah. Neither one of those beats is better than They Reminisce Over You, in my opinion.
No, it's not. And you know what? What I want to say, I got to get my Swiss Beats comment in. Them putting Rough Riders Anthem in there at number 9. To me, that's them shoehorning Swiss Beats into this countdown. It's more about the person who made it as opposed to the beat itself. I never thought
they're being a little too fair. Does that make sense? It's like, oh, let's get our Havoc beat. Let's get our Dre beat. Let's get our Pete Rock beat. Let's get our RZA beat. Let's get our Swiss beat. Let's get our Q-Tip beat. Where's the Large Professor beat? The Marley Marl beat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
My thing is, man, when we're judging the beat, you gotta erase who made whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
like how the hell, not being funny, how in the hell Is Rough Riders Anthem better than the Symphony by Marley Marl? On what level?
How is
Where?
it better? How is it a
When?
better beat than Stop
Who?
Being Greedy?
I was thinking about Stop Being Greedy and Get At Me Dog are better beats. What are you talking
They
about?
are. This is about who produced them. Actually, you know what? Let's go through there, right? Shook
Let's
Ones,
let's
Havoc.
look at how they lined up the producers.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, Havoc, Dre,
Propaganda.
Q-Tip, Easy Mo B, Premier. I guess Bambaataa. I think some other people did Planet Rock. I don't know them off top, but that's a different one, right? You got Pete Rock here, Trouble T. Roy. Who produced Annie Up?
Shit.
I know the name when I hear
I
it.
should know that.
People in the chat should help us out with this. Swiss Beats here. Annie Up was a surprise too. I get it. But, you know, when you see a record like Annie Up at number, what is that, 8?
It's too high.
That's when people start screaming New York bias.
It's too high.
Yeah, when you see a record like that, which is a great record, at 8.
Like if you're going to do New York bias, how about this, Mike? Annie Up's not better than Mass Appeal.
Annie Up's not better than High.
Facts.
It's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's when people are gonna be like New York bias. Let's see, we got a super chat. Born King with the super chat says, "It's Yours" by T. LaRock is my favorite beat of all time. Where would you rank that, Mike? It's top.
It should be
got to be top 20.
I'm about to say it should be in the top 25 to 30.
And yeah. I felt like they shorted themselves on "Rock the Bells," the song itself. I mean, I could see that one being higher, even though it's 11.
DR period did Annie Up.
Okay, DR period. Shout out to him. Great record, by the way.
I love Robin Hood Theory.
Oh yeah.
But
Swiss Beats.
No, it's not a top 10 beat.
Swiss Beats did Rough Riders Anthem. Dr. Dre did Nothing But a G Thing. Rock the Bells. That's Rick Rubin. Check the Rhyme. Q-Tip again. Dr. Dre again at In the Club. Peter Piper. I believe that's either Larry Smith or Rick Rubin. Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Could See. That's more about Busta, Paul Revere, Rick Rubin again, RZA.
Mike,
yeah.
How the fuck did In the Club get up this high? Like, not being funny, that is not a top 5 Dr. Dre beat, Mike.
Where's the Snoop Doggy Dogg stuff?
The Shiznit and Gin and Juice and What's My Name are all better than In the Club. That's just off Doggy Style, Mike. Let Me Ride's better than In the Club. Dre Day might be better than In the Club. Natural Born Killers is better than In the Club.
They're gonna kill you for that one.
It's the truth. It's a better beat. The beat the Natural Born Killers is better than the beat the In the Club.
You know what? Let me go down the list. Let me go down to 50, right? The Rockweiler is 50. That's not a top 50 beat. I'm sorry. Hip Hop by Dead Prez, One Love, Houdini, We Gon' Make It, Jadakiss, Whoa, Black Rob, All About the Benjamins is 45? Damn.
That's wild.
That is wild.
That's better than Rough Riders Anthem, In the Club.
In spades. In spades.
Like, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See, Triumph. It's better than all of those beats.
All of those. Straight up. Hate It or Love It, 44. Cell Therapy.
Nah.
Cell Therapy, 43.
That's too high. I mean, that's too low. It needs to be in the top 25.
Yeah. Simon Says, 42. Boys in the Hood, NWA, 41. Gold Digger.
Whoa.
Right.
Pause.
That's better than the stuff that they had at the top. But again, that's where people start screaming. Too. Yeah, that's when people start screaming East Coast bias. Gold Digger, 40.
No, that doesn't belong on the list.
That doesn't belong on the list. And I'm a Kanye guy. It doesn't belong on the list.
They're wild.
One of his other beats, at least. Insane in the Brain, Cypress Hill, 39. Big Pimpin', 38. That's about who produced it. That's about who produced it.
Rick Rubin did Peter Piper as well.
Okay, I figured. Rick Rubin got like 3 in the top 20. God dang. All right.
Mike, not being funny, it's called Rock the Bells.
No, I'm cool with that.
We know
Rock the Bells could have been higher, actually.
I mean, I'm just saying there's some personal biases involved because, you know, the people who run Rock the Bells, it's called Rock the Bells, Mike.
Okay. I understand. Rebel Without a Pause, 37. Oh man, that could have easily been in the top 10, and no one would have flinched. I replaced Rebel Without a Pause in Annie Up's place.
Easily, Mike.
Easily. There's nobody could sit here and tell me that the Annie Up beat is better than Rebel Without a Pause. Y'all want to have that
Nobody who
argument?
knows their hip hop history believes that.
Okay. Paper Thin, MC Light, 36. Come Clean, J. Rue the Damager, 35. Know the Ledge, 34. Eric B. and Rakim.
I'm cool where Come Clean and Know the Ledge are at, but they're just, see, this is the problem when you pick like the notarized stuff over the better stuff. It's like, well, shit, Know the Ledge is better than Triumph.
It is. It is.
Shout out to RZA. You know, I love some RZA more than about anybody else, dude.
But that's not the RZA pick.
Tip. Yeah. That ain't the fucking point, now is it?
Push It, Salt and Pepper, 33. Ooh, this one is crazy. ATLiens by Outkast, 32.
No, Elevators. Elevators.
If you're gonna pick one, yes, Elevators. But I mean, no, ATLiens is just not. I never liked that song. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love the album. Never really liked that song. I'm serious. Like,
it's not a top 10 Outkast song in my opinion.
It's my second least favorite Outkast single from their run. Miss Jackson's my least favorite Outkast single. And these are all really good songs. We're splitting hairs.
I actually agree with you on that, Mike. I like ATLiens more than I like Jazzy Bell. So
do you?
I do.
Well, if we're counting the remix, I'm with you. But if we're talking about the original, nah. Give me Jazzy Bell over ATLiens. If you talk about the Babyface one, I'm with you. I don't even count that one.
No, I like Fish and Grits and all the pimp shit. I was with that. Yeah.
I mean, they spitting on there too. It's just something about that record to me just doesn't sound like them. Maybe it's the tone of the rest of the album. And it's like it doesn't fit in that tone of the rest of the album to me. But other than some, spacey sound effects. Mad Max with the super chat says, the list was trash and LL's my man. If you ask me, Shook One's Ice Cream, Deep Cover, Ambitions as a Rider, gotta have 36. And my personal bias, Move Beats. Okay. So ATLiens from Outkast at 32. Running by Farside at 31.
I'm cool. Hold on. Mike.
What?
Where the fuck is Cream at on this list?
I'm looking for it. I'm sure it's on.
Toss the list out.
I'm sure it's on here. Is it not on here?
Toss the list out.
You know what? That's the conversation. How is Cream? It's not on here. All right. Let me go through the rest of the list. Running by Farside is 31. Made You Look by Nas is 30. I'm cool with that. Top Billing, Audio 2, that's 29.
I've been listening to Top Billing, Mike. That beat might be higher. It might be higher than that.
Shout out to Daddy O. Daddy O produced that.
It might be higher than that.
Jump Around, House of Pain, 28. Ambitions as a Rider is 27. So What You Saying by EPMD is 26. Clips Grinding is 25.
Wow.
Liquid Swords by Jizza is 24. Huh?
What are we doing?
What?
What are we doing? And I love the Liquid Swords beat. I do. Like,
I love Shadowbox.
I love. How I feel about Liquid Swords.
Yeah.
Like Liquid Swords, the beat. It's not better than Living in the World Today. It's not better than Shadowboxing on that album.
Right. It got picked over Shadowboxing and looks like...
and Fourth Chamber, Mike.
And Fourth Chamber. It got picked over Shadowboxing, Fourth Chamber, Incarcerated Scarfaces, Ice Cream. Yeah, I don't see Ice Cream here. Okay. Who Shot You?
I better hear Cream, and I better hear it soon.
I don't think you're going to hear it. Okay, Biggie, Who Shot You? DWYCL, Gangstar. I got 5 on it, Loonies. Mama Said Knock You Out. Work It by Missy is 19.
Where's Cream?
The Message is 18. Triumph is 17. Paul Revere 16. Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See is 15. Peter Piper 14. In the Club 13. Check the Rhyme. Rock the Bells. Nothing But a G Thing. Rough Riders Anthem. Annie Up. Trouble T. Roy. Planet Rock. Africa Bambaataa was 6. New York State of Mind's 5. Flavor in Your Ears 4. Electric Relaxation 3. Still DRE 2. And Shook Ones Part 2 is number 1. Some of the culprits here, Torre.
Oh,
Torre says, Flavor in Your Ear changed everything, bro. It changed it all. Big shout out to Easy Mo B. That record was unlike anything that I'd ever heard, from blaring sirens and the horns to the way that Mac approached it. DJ
Mr.
Scratch. Yeah. Okay.
List is trash.
Okay. How does Cream not make it and Liquid Swords makes it?
List is trash. See, this is how people be wondering why I be acting the way that I act, because it's like, no, you got people in positions of power that be doing dumb shit and they know better. Like, they know better.
I don't understand how.
And why the hell is Torre editing anything?
I don't understand how a record
List is
like
trash.
that can be ignored.
It's trash.
There's clearly New York bias there, right? And for whatever reason, and I'm going to say this, and this is kind of a rhetorical question. You might have an answer for it. And we've kind of covered this on the show before, too. Why is Wu-Tang never really the recipient of this New York bias?
How the hell you gonna have a top 50 beat list and you don't have Cream? You don't have Incarcerated Scarfaces? You don't have shadow boxing?
Ice Cream?
Ice Cream? Mike, I know RZA didn't do it, but Brooklyn Zoo should be on this list too.
Yeah.
So should Bring the Pain.
Shimmy, Shimmy. I remember...
Shimmy, Shimmy. I can think of 10 Wu-Tang beats that should be on this list, possibly.
You know who should be making this list? It should be people like, regardless of how people feel about them. DJs. It should be Flex. It should be, you know what I'm saying?
No, not him. No,
I'm just saying, a variety of them. You know what I mean?
Not
like
him.
It should be like
DJ Jazzy Jeff should be.
got people who do this. Kid Capri, who know the impact of these records.
Yeah.
Because I say Flex because I remember those Flex mixtapes when niggas was rhyming over beats. You know what they were rhyming over? They weren't rhyming over no damn Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. Didn't make this league.
I mean, if Cream ain't make it, then you know that ain't gonna make it. I don't think there's a beat.
This is trash.
The beats that I heard people rhyming on the most: Incarcerated Scarfaces, Cream, Shook Ones. I give it that, and Ice Cream.
Mike, Living in the World Today was the beat that most people picked up off Liquid Swords to rhyme over. That was the one that was making the mixtapes. Not even shadowboxing, because shadowboxing is hard to rap to.
And I think your beat, Quiet Storm, should have made here too.
Unequivocally, Mike.
Yeah.
Unequivocally.
Yeah. It's better than Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See. Yeah, I said it. Mad Max with the super chat. Mad Max with the super chat says, not gonna lie, it sounds like LL made the list off the top and forgot beats. LL, you my man, but come on, gang. Well, they actually misspelled G-Thing too, and I'm not trying to shit on Rock the Bells. I love those guys over there, but you got to be more you got to be more particular, and you can't just throw these lists together and forget songs like Cream. I'm just gonna give it to that, Coop. I feel like they must have forgot Cream or something.
Well, Mike,
is this more negligence?
If you forgot something like Cream, Mike, I love Uncle L. List is trash.
Yo, L, I know you didn't make this list yourself. Get your staff.
Invalidates the list.
Get your staff, yeah. Yeah. Because there's no way you got... There's no way you got Annie up at 8, Still DRE at 2, Electric Relaxation at 3, and you leave off Award Tour and Cream all together. And Triumph at 17? Listen, I don't think there's anybody in the world that thinks Triumph is a better beat than Cream. Some people might think it's a better song. I disagree with that totally, but oh no, it is nuts. But there's never. Is there anybody out there in this chat? We got like 220 something people in here. Do any of y'all think the Triumph is a better beat than Cream?
Mike, I love L. I love Rock the Bells. I love the network, the podcast. I love the record. I love L. To quote Tina Turner, Mike, what's love got to do with it? They are fucking up.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Poor Georgie is better than at least 15 of these.
I'd have to agree.
Yeah. Shit, I think Freaks come out at night.
Symphony didn't make it at all?
No.
They are fucking up.
Ooh, somebody said Respiration. I'm with y'all. And, me and Coop rhymed over that. Respiration's a great beat.
Did anything that KRS-One did make this list?
I didn't see any KRS-One.
They're fucking up.
Yeah.
You don't think My Philosophy?
Yeah.
Or South Bronx?
Right. South Bronx alone should have made it. Is that a Queens thing? I don't know.
South Bronx didn't make the list?
South Bronx is crazy.
There only one Public Enemy song made it?
And it was in the 30s.
They are fucking up.
I mean, Welcome to the Terror Dome is not worthy of, I don't know.
Time to redo the list. This is how we end up doing lists.
This is
every
how
year we pull up and people be fucking it up.
This is how we end up doing the list. And this is why we take so long doing the list, because we don't want to put stuff like this out there.
You mean trash?
Yeah. Brother Gabe with the super chat says, trash. No beat from Q songs, they're wild. I think
Mike, A Good Day didn't make it.
I was gonna say a Good Day has a very great shot. Listen, Mind Playing Tricks on Me. Really?
Wow.
How does Mind Playing Tricks on Me not make it?
This is wild.
I think A Children's Story should make it too.
High from Juvenile didn't make it. You already brought that up.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Back That Ass Up didn't make it. I mean, I
think High's a better beat, but
it is the better beat. I agree. But from an iconic standpoint, Back That Ass Up, when you hear those first couple notes, everybody know what it is.
Dum, dum, dum.
I mean, if In the Club could make it, you think In the Club's a better beat than Back That Ass Up? Because I don't.
Mike, I'm not even sure In the Club should make this list.
I don't think it should.
Because I can give you 10 better Dr. Dre beats.
Yeah.
Like, I can go in Dre's catalog and...
Is this to help credentialize? Because, all right, y'all talk about me leaving Timbaland off my list. Timbaland's representation on this list was Big Pimpin' and Working.
Yuck.
Exactly. So, no, he's not in my top 25 of hip-hop producers, because there are too many hip-hop producers who have made incredible hip-hop songs that trump Timbaland's best work. His best work from a rap standpoint is with Jay. That's it. I mean, if you want to count the Missy stuff, which is more of a hybrid, but no, that doesn't trump the work that people like Trackmasters put in hip-hop. It doesn't.
You remember the For the Fam beat?
Yeah.
That's better than half the beats on here.
Not For the Fam.
I can go through. I can keep going. Like, some of these beats didn't even deserve to make this list. They're not making my list. I see I'll be making a list today.
What do you think about In the Club? Because, I mean, not as the beat, but just as a song.
You mean Tear the Club Up by 3 6?
No, that should have made it.
Mike, where's Who Run It by 3 6 Mafia?
Yeah.
Where's Who Run It?
Still getting rhymed over today.
I'm still rhyming over Who Run It, Mike.
Yeah.
Just be in my basement by myself when I be turned up.
Well, this is what I want to ask, because somebody said that In the Club was forced on us. And, I'm not going to lie to you, and maybe it's because I was on my rap snob shit around 2003. I agree with that. I felt like I didn't organically gravitate to that song. I've never been a fan of that song on the album.
Hold on, Mike.
I skip all around that song. I do.
Mike, Microphone Fiend didn't make the list?
Great beat. Nope.
Mike, Microphone Fiend is it's what I like to call a gateway drug for beats for MCs to rhyme over.
Yeah,
It's one of the first type of beats that other MCs took and rhymed over. It's eternally getting rhymed over by MCs.
it is.
These guys suck.
I think What You Know About T.I. deserves a spot too. I know y'all probably be thinking I'm caping for Tip or whatever, but I don't think there's any. I think In the Club, once again, is probably the most recent beat on here, right?
This is wild.
Yeah, I mean, what about the current production? I mean, or I don't even want to say current production, at least production from the last 10, 15 years.
When we come back on Wednesday, I'm going to have a real list.
Okay. Eric B is president. I think it's special too. I think it's so many beats, man. And I know we've contemplated doing a beat list, but it's just so many.
I don't love Eric B as president as a beat, like on that level that it would make my list. But Microphone Fiend damn sure deserve to be on this list.
Yeah. What about Ultramagnetic? You know what I'm talking about. Ego Tripping. Oh. From the Critical Beatdown album. Hold on.
I'm putting Rock the Bells at number 50 to troll and to be funny. Just so we're clear. The beat Rock the Bells, that's going to be number 50.
It felt like, again, they wanted to fit certain producers in there. Yeah, Ego Tripping.
Man, fuck all that.
Yeah, it ain't about that. If it's about the beat, it's about the beat. The beat has to stand alone outside of the person that made it. As you said,
it's about the beat.
Yeah, it is. I think Paul Revere is very influential, but I think that's probably a little bit too, high or low, however you want to say it.
Mike, it ain't hard to tell by Large Professor?
It ain't hard to tell. It's incredible.
You telling me Rough Riders Anthem is a better beat than It Ain't Hard to Tell?
Unpopular opinion here, man. Check the Rhyme's not one of my favorite Tribe beats or songs.
Check the Rhyme. Mike, Check the Rhyme doesn't belong on this list.
It doesn't. And you know me.
Mike,
Tribe might be my number one.
Mike. Benita's a better beat than Check the Rhyme.
Shit, I've always liked Can I Kick It more than Check the Rhyme because of the drums on Can I Kick It.
I like Check the Rhyme, the song. I love the song.
Yeah.
But we talking about beats, right?
Yeah, if we're talking about the beat, to me, Can I Kick It's the better beat. Award Tour, easily. And since we're not even just gonna, since New York State of Mind is on here, and it's not just about singles anymore, I mean, you got Lyrics to Go out there, man. Lyrics to Go.
That's fair, Mike. Crazy. That's one of Q-Tip's best beats.
And that Minnie Riperton shit's crazy.
Dilla only had one beat on here?
Dilla had a beat on here?
Running by the Far Side.
Oh, yeah, that's Dilla. Yeah, Dilla only had one on here.
Mike, where Kanye's representation at? I don't believe
Gold Digger. Gold Digger was Kanye's representation. That's nowhere near his best beat.
Can I interest you in the corner by comment?
Right. You know what? That's the missed opportunity from them too. They could have utilized Kanye to be more recent with this list. This is a very old school East Coast list.
Power.
Yeah, Power. Power could have definitely made it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very old head. It's an old head list.
I know it's Rock the Bells, but damn.
Yeah, they need to dust the the vinyl off on this one, man.
I mean, this is for niggas who get 10-cent coffee at McDonald's, Mike, because they're senior citizens. You know? Like,
respectfully.
This list is for niggas who served in Vietnam. Like, what the fuck is this?
Right. This is a get off my lawn list for real. Like, what younger or what hip hop fan that's like 25 to 30 is even gonna look at this list and be like, damn, man, like, where my representation at, bro?
I mean, not to be funny, Mike. I mean, and this is what I mean, they picking and choosing their fruit. It's like, so you got Rough Riders Anthem on here, but niggas in Paris ain't on here? What are we doing?
Right. And see, these are the reasons why when we say that Hit-Boy is this and that on an all-time list, like, nah, man, Hit-Boy is not this. Like, he doesn't even get the representation where he needs it, where, like you said, niggas in Paris should be on this list.
I mean,
Metro ain't
not,
made nothing that should have been on this list. Bad and Bougie couldn't have made this
I was
list.
about to say, Mike. I mean, Bad and Bougie should be on here probably. I got to do my list. It's very problematic.
I mean, you know, if
I don't care how you feel about Raindrops and Drop Tops. That beat is hard.
if Missy's Work It is on here, Bad and Bougie could get a spot. Work It is on here at 18. And listen, man, I love Missy, man. And this is the Missy topics and the Andre topics are always so tough for me because I'm really legit fans of these people and always have been, even when it was unpopular to be fans of them. But to see things get inflated after the fact, it's kind of tough for me, man. Like, now we want to say Work It is a top 18 hip-hop beat of all time. Now we want to say, what do they say? Missy's Under Construction was like a top 10 hip-hop album or some shit we seen on the list. Like, come on, guys, get real.
I mean, Mike, Sock It To Me and The Rain are way fucking better.
If Sock It To Me was on this list, I wouldn't say shit. I wouldn't say shit.
Sock It To Me is pretty fucking hard.
No, because that's where Who Run It comes from, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so no, if Sock It To Me's on this list, I'm not saying anything. Or The Rain.
The Southern representation on this list is egregious.
It is.
Or lack thereof.
The West Coast representation.
We got Cell Therapy and ATLians. What else did you name?
Cell Therapy, ATLians. I mean, we got to count Grinding, right?
Yeah, Grinding. Okay, 3.
Let's see.
We're known for beats down here.
It's true. Cell Therapy.
Grinding's way too
I'm
low.
not going to count Big Pimpin'.
Me.
You're right, man. This is all East Coast stuff. Yeah. We're known for beats down here. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's it. And you know, it's funny. The beats that are Southern here, like, you know, Goody Mob and Outkast, they cater to a palate of an East Coast person.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is what it is.
That's why the Dungeon family is the most groundbreaking group to really come out of the South, because they remained Southern, but they had enough of an East Coast aesthetic that it gravitated.
Yeah, they had to infiltrate. Brother Gabe with the super chat says, Hove PSA, Cool G Rap Road to Riches, UGK I Choose You. I'm with those. I think that I personally like You Don't Know better than PSA, but if somebody said PSA's beat was better than You Don't Know's beat, I'm not mad at that.
It's conversational.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like Jay's bars.
Did you see Cat Williams' interview?
Of course I did. The whole free world has seen Cat Williams' interview. And quite frankly, niggas who ain't free have seen the interview.
Right.
Pretty certain I'm going to get a couple jail calls soon.
What did you think of the interview? You're like, which part, right?
Here's what I find to be startling. Everybody who got attacked hasn't refuted it.
But they've all said something. They felt like they've had all said to say something,
but they haven't said what needed to be said to discredit the man, which is that is not true. I haven't heard that from one of those motherfuckers. And I'm going to just tell you, if you lie on me to other people, I'm coming to get your motherfucking ass.
Yeah, you got to correct.
That's what you're not about to do.
Right.
And so the fact that ain't nobody came for him or outright called him a liar just gives him all the more credit in the world over here.
What do you think about Ludacris's freestyle?
I think it's a dope freestyle. You got to do more than kick a dope freestyle to refute what the man is saying. Did you call the man a liar in the freestyle?
Did you like the freestyle? I don't know, man. There's something about...
I like Luda. I like hearing Luda.
I like hearing Luda. You know what I'm saying? Like I said,
it's good to hear Luda kick some bars.
It is.
He didn't call the man a liar, though.
No. You know what I think?
None of these dudes have. No. Kevin Hart was on ESPN, like cracking his little corny ass jokes that ain't never really that good. I agree with him totally about Kevin Hart. Like 100% agree with him. And Kevin Hart ain't that funny. And it's like, oh no, use this platform and go call that man a liar since he lying. Nope. Steve Harvey said, and then what? Mm,
Well, you know what the
mm.
brilliance of this interview I think was, and maybe I could be looking into it too deep. I know Dave Chappelle just put out a stand up that, quite frankly, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think was that funny. Um, which is unfortunate because I love Dave. But this felt like Cat used this platform to pretty much do a whole stand up bit. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff that he said and the way that he placed it and the individual jokes that, or I won't say jokes, but truths he was telling and being funny at the same time could have easily been a straight up stand up. And
So
it's
a couple
brilliant.
things.
He went to where the people are at, like we are right now. We're on YouTube because that's where the people are at. He went to where the people are at and did his interview slash stand up, and it was brilliant. Never seen anything like it.
So a couple of things. I've seen Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock live. Fortunate enough to say that. Chris Rock is a superior stand-up comedian on stage. Because Dave sometimes is hit and miss.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like on stage, he's hit and miss. I still think the Chappelle Show is the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. First 2 seasons of the Chappelle Show, like comedic level, comedic genius, best shit I've ever seen. And that includes Eddie Murphy's stand-up. Like if we're just talking about funny in a vacuum. So I always tell people, Dave Chappelle is our funniest guy, but Chris Rock's our best comedian. Eddie's still the king in a lot of ways because neither one of them have a Raw or Delirious under their belt, as great as their shit has been.
Right.
Cat Williams, when I really sit down and think about it, outside of the 3 guys that I just named, might have to put him right after those 3 guys, though, if I was picking. If we're just talking about who's actually fucking funny, Mike.
Yeah, it's just
you know
funny.
What I'm saying? Yeah, Cat Williams is like that. He's a special type of funny. I don't think he's the level of those 3 because that's my A-list. That's Eddie, Chris Rock, Chappelle. As far as the time that I've been alive, I didn't grow up on Richard Pryor or Red Fox. You know what I'm saying? But he's funnier than all the dudes that he's roasting, Mike. And what I have noticed is that not only have the people that got roasted, first of all, they got roasted because they went up on Shay's show first.
Right.
And really all Cat did with his airtime is correct, the shit that they was talking when they pulled up on Shay. But also, Mike, have you seen all the people that have been coming out and co-signing Cat Williams from the entertainment industry, from the comedic industry? I find it to be fascinating.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know, man. I think in a vacuum, Cat's one of the funnier ones. And I've always been a fan of Dave Chappelle and the Chappelle Show when it was happening, but I'm going to be honest, man. When I go back and look at the Chappelle Show, it's not as funny as it once was. It didn't age as well as something like a Martin. Like, if I see Martin right now, like, everything is like I saw it for the first time.
I don't agree.
Yeah, I know.
There's no social. How about this? I guess it's about styles, about what you like. There's no social commentary to Martin.
Well, see, that's what
Dave
I went
Chappelle
to Live in Color for.
Commentary and rhetoric. That's why I like him and Chris Rock so much.
Well, see, that's what I went to Live in Color for too, because you go back and look at some of the stuff that was on the Live in Color, it was brilliant. You know, those guys were really ahead of the curve in many ways on that. But yeah, I mean, I don't go to Martin for, social commentary in that sense.
Right.
Or even Cat Williams. I think Cat Williams is just straight up funny, even though he does tap those conspiracy theory narratives very well. And I love that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the conspiracy theorist on the show anyway. So, so yeah, I do gravitate to that part of what Cat says. And I mean, it is a cliquish thing, and it's pretty clear when you look at Hollywood and you look at the same people especially in Black Hollywood, same people are in all of the films, and it is what it is, man.
I need to correct myself. I would not put Cat ahead of the late great Bernie Mac, Mike.
I love Bernie Mac too. Bernie Mac's one of my favorites.
Yeah. I think Bernie Mac in a vacuum might be funnier than all these motherfuckers on stage because his physical comedy along with his joke telling skills is at an Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor prime level. So definitely. I put Bernie in that mix. He's just not here, so I kind of forgot him. Because what really just went through my mind is that shit that Steve Harvey pulled on Bernie Mac. Because that's not the first time I've heard that.
Mad Max in the super chat says, "Hell no, cool. Bernie is the funniest, and Martin's better than Dave. Cat's in my top 5 though."
No, Martin's not. I'm sorry, I mean, here's where we disagree about Martin, and I love Martin. Martin's didn't age well to me outside of the first season.
Really,
the first season is like just like classic funny. Everything after the first season to me is not as funny. Like,
I
just to be
thought the
totally
second
honest with you,
season was the one. I thought the second season was the funniest.
the one where Tommy's in court and he's like, "What does GTD stand for,
I
Tommy?"
think that's season 2.
Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe season 1 and 2. That shit's hilarious.
Martin was on one on season 2. It's certain episodes where he is just on. That's one of them. See, that Thanksgiving episode too, he's on. Like
the one where he got his house broken into.
Yeah,
that shit's hilarious.
Yeah, Martin. It's certain episodes in that sitcom's history where he is on, like from beginning to end. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, said that Cat was lying. Said that he had been doing the spaceship joke for at least 8 years before he did it on Kings of Comedy. I don't believe that. I'm sorry.
Don't nobody.
Because this is the thing.
Nobody believe that next.
This is the bigger thing, and this is how it ties into hip hop outside of the fact that Ludacris responded. I think that the whole thing of taking other comedians' jokes, it's terrible because you as the bigger artist, it's kind of like what we always talked about with, and I'm saying this because it's a hip hop narrative, with Jay-Z and Young Chris, right? Jay-Z goes out there, and let's just say he gets influenced by Young Chris's style. But a lot of people ain't really on to Young Chris like that because Jay's the big guy, right? And when Jay goes out there and rhymes like that, it stunts this other person's opportunity and ability to go out there and be fresh to the masses. So now when this person comes out, he sound like Jay. Like, no. And so that's what those comedians were doing. You know, Cat was an example of that because, you know, Sid had no idea if Cat was going to make it or not, or if he was going to say anything or not. How many jokes do you think that some of these bigger comedians have taken from smaller comedians and stunted their growth? Because they get out there on stage, try to tell their closing joke, and niggas like, man, you got that from Cedric the Entertainer. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the part that's not cool.
I mean, Mike, I've told you that just on some rap shit, they stole one of our Man Holla songs down here. I got a song stolen too by bigger artists.
Mm-hmm. That's the way the entertainment industry works.
Who knew who we were. Yeah, that shit happens. It happened to me. It happened to our boy Holla.
And think about before the internet was, you know, able to kind of timestamp things where you really had no proof if you made something first. It's just hearsay at that point. So, I ain't take that from you. It was just coincidence.
Like, here's how I feel about Martin. It's like, Martin is kind of like the block. It's like they play a lot of the dozens. And it's like, I'm cool with the dozens, but it's like, oh, I know how to play the dozens. It's like, you know what I mean? Because that's essentially what that show devolved into. I felt like the first couple of seasons actually had, like, themes. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
Like, and it was, like, genuinely funny from, listen to what I'm saying, not just from a jokey joke standpoint, but from an actual comedic writing standpoint. I like writing, Mike. That's why I like the Chappelle Show so much. That's why I like In Living Color so much. No, like, I know all you niggas is funny. Show me that you know how to fit into a format. It's like taking a battle rapper off the streets. It's like, no. I know you can spit 100 bars out here on this corner. Can you give me 3/16s and a dope hook, though? Because most people can't.
Yeah, because you're the person that picked DMX over Cannabis when you heard them both.
Damn right.
Yeah.
It's one of my great hip-hop triumphs.
Cannabis was shocking the world out here. We want to talk about killing people on tracks and all that stuff. Cannabis was the catalyst for that. And that's one of the reasons why, not one of the reasons, Cannabis is the reason that I don't buy into that whole narrative that, okay, because Eminem got on a song with this person and out-rapped them, that makes them better. No. That doesn't mean anything. Cannabis taught me that as a teenager. Like, yes, you could get on Beats from the East and out-rap Redman, but you ain't better than Redman until you prove that. Until you prove that through actual works, nah. You getting on a record, outshining somebody, that's cool for the record. But that doesn't do anything on the long term of things. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't.
And I'm sorry, man.
Get at me, dog. Make me feel something.
I'm gonna stop being nice about this. You can't tell me. You know, and I respect Ludacris's freestyle and all that, man. There's no way in the world this nigga's better than T.I., man. We gotta stop this. He's not, man.
That.
He is not.
Stop that.
He's not. It's not even close.
Gotta stop that.
It's not even close, man.
Gotta
like
stop.
The bars are, you know, they rhyme, but it kind of corny, man. It is what it is, man. I'm sorry.
Luda's an entertainer and a radio personality first, turned into an MC. Tip is an MC.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Luda probably was rhyming first, but yeah, you're right. I mean, he's an entertainer. I mean, in my personal opinion, I think he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, radio personalities this city's ever had. And that's saying a lot in the short period of time that he did it and how young he was. He had a natural talent for it. But if we want to talk about these bars, these songs, these concepts, the versatility, the subject matter, nigga, it's not even close. It's not, man. We got to... I'm sorry. I don't know where this comes from. Like, I don't know where it comes from.
Really got to stop that.
It's confusing.
We need to go on the Atlanta campaign trail and get the city of Atlanta to be like, hey, we all love Tip, we all love Luda, but we all know what time it is. We know what time it is.
It's not even like if we had one guy in the battle versus the other guy in the battle, even like, I don't even think that's gonna be close. Like, okay, look, a lot of people want to point to what Luda did on Stomp. Where I personally feel like T.I.'s verse is more impressive, but obviously
it is.
Yeah. But
T.I. and Luda had the advantage of hearing T.I.'s verse where T.I. didn't get the opportunity to hear Luda's verse. Exactly. So he literally got time to stalk his prey, quote unquote.
Yeah, he got snipped. It's like you snuffing somebody from behind, basically. That's pretty much what that was.
You stole on Tip.
So let's look at that. Okay, put that up against what Tip did to Flip on the 99 Problems freestyle, or what he did with Lil Third. Like, no.
Or Shawty Low on What's Up, What's Happening.
It's not even close. Do y'all really think in a straight up battle where somebody's not just snuffing somebody from behind, Luda's gonna overtake Tip? I don't. And that's not even counting everything else the Tip's done in his career. And I'm not trying to shortchange Luda in his career. He's had an incredible career, but I feel like people are shortchanging T.I. in his career to the point where we're saying that Luda's better than him. I don't understand that. Pimp Panther with the super chat says, Ninth got a beat on Fonte's Charities Starts at Home called Not Here Anymore. That Minnie Riperton sample was so dope. For sure. You know, and that's why I put Tip so high, not T.I., but Q-Tip now. A lot of those beats and a lot of those loops that Q-Tip used, he was the first to use them. And people used them over and over after him.
Definitely. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, if you love J Dilla, Kanye, Ninth, like, if you love their beat style, it's like, that's Q-Tip.
Yeah. I mean, even when you look at things like the Isley Brothers Between the Sheets being used on Big Papa, I mean, Q-Tip did that 2-3 years before it.
He did. Yeah. That's where they got it from. I mean, and no disrespect, I don't know when Dilla became greater than Q-Tip to people, because it's like, I ain't seen Dilla make no Low-End Theory or Midnight Marauders, Mike.
Well, you know what Q-Tip's problem was? At least for me.
It didn't happen.
Well, Q-Tip's problem was the fact that we just didn't know he made this stuff. That's what it was. I didn't know all the stuff that Q-Tip made until the Tribe documentary, to be honest, because he never went around here talking about what he made. He never did. And I think that was to his detriment, to be honest. I mean, he should have been out here carrying the flag like Dr. Dre was and telling everybody what he was making. Because I assumed back in the day that, let me get this spam out of here.
I got Leroy Green
fans.
I just got him. Yeah.
I assumed back in the day that Ali Shaheed was making the Tribe stuff.
We all assume that, Mike. So it's like, what else was he doing?
I think that's Q-Tip's biggest issue, is the fact that we just didn't know.
I mean, you want to know what? It was the infamous for me that made me start digging when you told me that he's the one that did the drums on Give Up the Goods. I was like, hold up. I was like, time to dig.
Yeah. He did a lot, and the fact that he took chances on samples that flew to the point where everybody started using them after the fact. Because even Think Twice, that Roy Ayers record, he used that on what's the name? It's on People's Instinctive. Footprints. And then you have Lisa using it for Let the Beat Hit Him. Like, that's what his production career is like. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll use something, and then 2-3 years later, boom, here comes Big Papa. Or I even saw that a Millie sample, that comes from the El Segundo remix that he did.
I didn't know
that. A Millie is crazy. It's like, yeah.
Right.
It's crazy. So that's why Q-Tip, to me, other than his album making ability, is held so high, because he used stuff first and then people went on to use it after him. Whereas Dr. Dre on the other end, Dr. Dre could use what you already used and make it way better. Like, him and Taz used the same sample for Next Episode around the same time. And I mean, I don't know who produced the one that was on Tash's album, but it's a clear difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a clear difference. Mad Max in the super chat says, because Dilla, with all due respect, died. Some will tell you that Dilla was better than RZA. Like, Dilla fans are ridiculous.
That's fucking crazy.
This is what I'll say about Dilla. Dilla has beats that are still coming out today. Like, I don't know how deep his catalog runs. Pause. Because it's like we're always hearing new Dilla records. Like, Joey Badass gets Dilla beats. Like, this man's been gone for 20 years. Crazy.
Now, that's fair. You want to talk about some quality workmanship and craftsmanship over a course of time? It's like, yeah, he's great, and he's one of the all-time greats, but he's not better than Q-Tip or RZA.
Nah, it's hard. It's hard to be better than that.
Yeah,
especially
like you better
Q-Tip,
be Primo
man.
or Dr. Dre.
Yeah. I mean, because their catalogs are just so massive. I mean, I learned that even when we were doing our Dilla versus Primo. Like, as much as I love Dilla and as excellent as he is, his records don't stand up to those Primo tracks. It's not fair to Dilla.
It's not fair to Dilla.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, the problem is that we can't prove or disprove who did what. Joke first. Most stand-up sets are not televised, so it's easy for Cat to say that I did it first. It becomes a messy circle of he said, she said. But, you know, Cat does have the Comic View commercial on his side. I mean, I saw the footage. I don't know if you guys saw it, but the joke that he was talking about that Cedric stole, I saw the actual footage of it. Now, granted, we can't really say that we saw Cedric's, him doing it 8 years before, but I don't know. It's all about, at that point, who do you believe? And do you believe that Cat's joke was stolen, Coop?
Yes, because I don't think Cedric the Entertainer is that funny on stage.
Well, why is it so difficult for people to just admit that and move on?
I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like Cat made a good comment about Cedric. It's like, how many stand-up specials did Cedric do, and where are they? Them shits weren't funny.
Yo, they trying to kill us with spam today, man. They got the admins over here working. Appreciate it, the real Leonard Washington.
Yeah, I already took care of that one too.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that stood out to me, because there is a lot of borrowing in Hollywood and entertainment, because people just piggyback on things that are working, and they don't take chances. Like when you got Living Single being copied by friends and things like that. I never really looked at the Steve Harvey show being a Carver copy of Hanging with Mr. Cooper. That was kind of news to me. And I was like, it is similar.
I never thought about that till he said something too. That's what I mean when I was like, ooh. he put some nasty work in on them dudes.
Yeah, man. I mean, and the fact that people are so offended, kind of let you know that there might be some truth there.
No. Don't be offended. Refute it with some evidence.
Yeah. Or just go out there and be funny, man. Be
I want
original.
Steve Harvey. Oh, you know, Ice Cube said that a lot of the shit the cat was putting down about the whole Friday thing was correct.
Yeah.
Ice Cube came out and said that.
But Cube
and here's
did
my
say
thing with
that
Steve Harvey. I want Steve Harvey to address that Bernie Mac shit. If Cat's lying, address the Bernie Mac situation. You went behind Fam's back, talking about I'll take half for the spotlight.
That's dirty work, man. It's not.
No respect.
It should never be that important. You know what I mean? And
it should never be that important that you tear another one of your own down.
See, this is my thing.
Fucking white man.
I don't like what the networks do when it comes to Michael Strahan and Steve, where it's like many of those jobs could be spread out throughout, other black comedians, hosts, whatever. But to have one black host or hostess doing 8 different shows, they don't do that with anybody else. You don't really see that with anybody else. But us.
It's a Negro quota, Mike. Can't have too many. If too many, and I'm not joking when I say this, if too many of us with money or in power get in one space, we become a danger and a threat to society.
So you can't spread it out.
That's where I'm going to get on your conspiracy theory tip. It's like, no, there is a plan to keep black men of affluence from getting together because of the power that we can galvanize and the change that we can make. Yeah. And they will literally prevent that from happening. Just think about the Bernie Mac shit. It's like they literally called every black comedian in Hollywood and wanted to pick the funniest guy. Well, that was Bernie at the time. They picked the right guy. But it's the fact that there was only space for one black guy like that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Don Cheadle for being a great method actor.
Yeah, Don Cheadle's dope. I was just watching Flight the other day. Did a great job in there. Don Cheadle's a G. You want to talk about this this Pusha T text message or alleged text before we get out of here?
We can. I want to hear your thoughts.
I guess I should read it, right?
Go ahead.
Let me find this. I wonder what Kanye said to set him off. Okay, so
It make me think that these motherfuckers really keep Bernie from, like, think about it. Bernie is the one from his generation that got to the party late. And so when Cat's saying the stuff that he's saying, it's like, well, he's always been funnier than all those guys. The Kings of Comedy is proof that he's funnier than all the other 3 guys that are on stage, like in spades. And it just makes me think, did y'all conspire against your own brother to keep him from shining? Like before the fucking Ocean shit.
Yeah.
Nasty. Disgraceful ass shit.
This is the Pusha T alleged text message leak, to Kanye West. I don't know if this is real or not, but it's floating around the internet, so I figure we'd discuss it. So Pusha responds to Kanye, he says, put out the song because he dissed me and mentioned my wife in a song, ... You let Drake disrespect you, your wife, and your family. That's why you can't get your wife to respect you. Don't blame me, Kanye. I would never shoot anybody for you. You would snitch on me. Sean changed his name to Moses and turned Jew. Please don't compare me to him. Puff was better off without J-Lo. She was a whore. J-Lo caught a stray in this alleged text message. And I've held you down, and you don't appreciate me. I don't know. Let's just assume
Do you think it's real?
I don't think it's real, but again, I don't know.
And how did it get leaked out?
Yeah, it's wild enough where it could be real. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot to unpack here. First off, I do think that it is problematic in the fact that, similar to what Skino and Sparks, Skino, excuse me, was saying about the Jay-Z and Nas thing. When you guys jump out the window and start dissing somebody, and then you make up with them, you leave them on an island. And that's not cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't sit. But Pusha did say I want all the, what I'm saying? I want all the bars, basically. It's like, kind of leave Kanye out of it. I want all the bars. But I don't know, man. I feel where Push is coming from and the fact that he put it all out there and was kind of on an island going against Drake, where Kanye's out there making up with Drake and Jay Prince and things like that. And if we're going to do those things, let it be a all-inclusive makeup thing. And I don't even think that Drake and Kanye have really made up like that. I think Kanye made efforts to try to quote-unquote squash it, where Drake is still kind of on some fuck you type thing. You know what I mean? Without saying it. But if this is official and this is real, I can understand where Pusha T's coming from. Because, I mean, that's just straight up frustration when you go against the biggest artists in the industry and everything's going against you. You would at least hope that, you know what I'm saying, your guy will have you back. But on the flip side of things, you got to look at the whole picture. When your guy was running for president, you were openly out here campaigning with people who didn't want him to win. So I could see on the flip side how the other person could feel like they weren't supported either. So
I told you. Seeing how we letting, people with AARP cards, like their second AARP card in the office again, and seeing how we're letting people with mental health issues in the office again. Well, give me somebody who looks like me. But just don't tell me that nigga's dropping an album that's going to be good, because that's not happening. It's a better chance at presidency.
Damn. I don't know about that.
Shit.
But you're right, though.
Where that song with Freddie at, Mike?
He got to release this stuff, man. I'm hearing that the Vulture shit ain't even coming out. At least we know, and I'll say whatever I say, at least we know that Jay-Z and D'Angelo are going to drop this song this week. We know that.
No, Jay do what he say he going to do.
Yeah. I don't think there's ever been a time where Jay said he was going to release something and didn't release it.
I agree. I can't.
And the only time Nas didn't release what we thought he was going to release in the time that he said he was going to do it is when Kanye was involved. I mean, it's the truth. I got to call a spade a spade. Kanye, guys, you got to start releasing these records, man. Like, I get it. The Floyd Mayweather thing works if the moment actually happens. The way Floyd was able to drag out the whole Pacquiao thing, ultimately it worked for him. But the moment has to actually happen. And when the moment happened with the Pacquiao and Floyd thing, it was huge.
Sugar Ray Leonard would have whooped Floyd's ass.
Yeah, I'm with Mad Max. Kanye has to confirm this text message for it to really be valid in that sense.
Now, he's good for that.
And he's good for that. We know that.
He's good for that. We can expect a response at some point soon.
Yeah. So if this is something truly leaked, normally he's the one that leaks it, to be real. So you think Kanye's done?
He hasn't made anything. How about this? I went and listened to The Life of Pablo about 2 weeks ago. It's a solid project, Mike. It's good.
Yeah.
It's not great.
It's not to his standards, no.
I'm about to say, if we're in comparative analysis of his earlier and more brilliant works, it doesn't even come close.
It's what we do to Jay all the time. Nas too.
Right.
So yeah, you're being judged by your own greatness.
You're great when you get judged. This is a Shannon Sharp thing again too. Shout out to Big Uncle Shay.
Yeah.
When you get compared by the earlier version of yourself, you're great. Tom Brady.
Yeah.
LeBron James. Michael Jordan before retirement. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The only person that can compare Kanye to college dropout, late registration, graduation, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Do you still operate on that level? The answer is no.
You know
and
what?
It's been so long. Mike, now it's going into year number 14 since he's operating on that level. It is safe to say that operating on that level
is over.
It's done.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's the fear that Andre 3000 has when working with Big Boy specifically.
He hasn't proved that he can operate on that level by himself.
Yeah, and I ain't even talking about by himself. I think even the fear of coming together to do an Outcast effort, he has a fear to operate at the level that we expect those guys to as a duo. And I don't think he's confident in that ability to operate at that level at this stage. He could be wrong, but I think that's where it is. I think that's why he shies away from working with Big Boy, because clearly they have a good personal relationship. Their kids are cool and everything. It's the only thing I can think of. Because even when Big Boy jumped on that Frank Ocean song, he had to make a statement to say there wasn't an official Outkast song. Like, what's that about? I think he's afraid of the buzz of people wanting them to make an effort together and then not living up to what their standards are.
Big Boy's making an album right now.
He is.
Word on the street is.
Shout out to Big Boy. Yeah, he announced that, and I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, 2024, we're gonna get a Big Boy album. Excuse me, and I'm looking forward to that.
I'm officially in that place. Not thinking about an Outkast album, nor am I worried about it.
It's never gonna happen.
Dre's the only one. Dre's the only one at this point that's worried about the Outkast thing, because like we've all let it go at this point.
It's funny. It's funny how the tables turn and how things have flipped, because before it was the fans that were all about that. Now it's him explaining, "Oh, I want an Outkast." No. That time has passed. People don't want it anymore.
I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, really. I mean, it's what it is. Like,
I'm good.
In theory and in a vacuum, I would love it, but what's the chemistry going to look like 20 plus years later?
That's why I'm good, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, what is it really going to look like? How good would an Outkast album really be, as separate as these guys have been over the past 2 decades?
I'm good.
Yeah. I mean,
they stopped making Outkast albums in their 20s. They're almost 50.
Right. That's crazy when you think about it in those terms.
Yeah, that's why I'm telling you I'm good. It's like, no, I'm good on that.
Like Seven, Andre's son Seven was a baby crying on Akumanai in one of the skits, like after the song Slump.
Yeah, he a grown ass man.
And he's older than they were when they made that album.
Correct.
I think he's older than they were when they made their last album together.
I'm not sure about that, because they were 27 when they made their last album, right? 27, 28?
Well, I count Stankonia as their last group album. So they were like 25. They were 25 on Stankonia.
Were they that young when Stankonia came out?
Mm-hmm. Because they were 19, 20 on Southern Playalistic. They were like 21 on ATLians. They were 23 in Aquemini and 25, yeah.
They made Aquemini at 23 years old.
That's crazy, right? You know, I think that's some of that.
They should be the greatest hip hop, they should be the greatest hip hop group of all time had they just stayed on the trajectory that they were on. That's crazy.
I think that it's kind of that Andrew Bynum syndrome, or Clay Thompson, where you get so much so early, kind of take it for granted a little bit. Like, Andrew Bynum walked in the league damn near getting championships. You know what I mean? He wasn't even 20 years old. Where you got people who worked years and years to their late 20s to get their first championship. It's like you appreciate it differently. And I think everything probably happened so fast for them, not to say they didn't appreciate it, but like you said, that trajectory of being 23 years old making Aquemini, when you look back at that when you're 40, that feels different. Like, damn, we made Aquemini when we were 23 years old. Imagine what you could have made when you were locked in like that at 28, at 30. But yeah, we'll never know. Saying all that to say.
I don't have words.
Yeah. All right, well, sure. I think we covered everything. Looking forward to hearing this song. Probably not going to hear it before, Wednesday's show, but I'm looking forward to whatever news is coming out between now and Wednesday. Because it seems like every day is something.
Start working on this beat list tomorrow.
The beat list. Yeah, I'm going to work on that shit now, actually, because I want it to be as accurate as possible. And, I mean, I hate to say it. Like I said, shout out to Rock the Bells, but if you don't have cream on your top 50 hip hop beats list, then it's kind of invalid, unfortunately.
It ain't kind of invalid.
Because I don't even think that's an opinion.
It's not, Mike, some things aren't up for discussion.
Nah.
Mass Appeal didn't make it either. It's not up for discussion.
That's crazy.
They suck.
That's like saying that, you know, Thriller's not the album of 1982 and 83. Like, come on. It is, or it should be in the conversation at least. Damn.
Wow.
All right, hit like and subscribe. Appreciate y'all tuning into the show. We're gonna be here at regular time on Wednesday, and it's probably be our new time on Monday for now, right?
Yeah.
We'll work it out.
Yeah.
All right.
Shout out to Cobb County.
All right, like and subscribe, everybody. Thumbs up in the chat. We appreciate y'all rocking with us. Yeah.